do is we're recording, but I'm going to do this. So, you were talking about the movie, so let's talk about the movie. So you saw, what's it called?
It's called Girls Against Boys.
Right, and I wanted to see it because it looked sort of like it violated sort of traditional gender norms of horror movies and like badass chicks killing guys, and that's fun, usually, you know, I like Kill Bill, but like, you said you were disappointed.
Well, no, I both liked it and I didn't like it. I was
Okay.
disappointed because it is the basic Tyler Durden formula, which is boring.
Right.
And our lady killer is only killing men who have, like, sexually wronged her, which is also boring.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do like about it is it made me realize that I'm really comfortable watching movies where the killer is a female
Right.
and her victims are male.
Right.
And I would feel really guilty about this, and I would feel like a bad person for doing that, except I constantly meet men who like horror movies, and they don't like hard candy and Girls Against Boys. No. They like movies where it's a male killer killing women, killer. But they don't have to be introspective because that's what horror movie means.
That's what it means to them. Oh, there's a woman running away and being attacked, and that was sort of established
well,
in the
and
horror
we get
genre.
to see, we get to see her boobs. We probably get to see a sex scene, and then we get to kill her. And in a small way, I get to identify more with the killer than with the victim, and maybe not in a small way. And I prefer a horror movie where I identify with the killer because I think, you know, then it's thrilling and exhilarating to watch the movie.
Uh-huh.
Even though I don't like gore and I always turn away for those parts.
Yeah.
But it's not like the experience of when I'm watching a movie that's just these men killing women, where then I have nightmares and then, you know, every sound in my house, I'm just like, great,
That's
I'm a slut, now I'm going to get murdered. That did not work out how I wanted it to.
Well, do you think that most men are identifying with the killer when they watch horror movies?
Well, that was my question to you. Do you ever identify with the killer?
I don't watch that. Okay, I'm a bad person for this question, but I don't watch many horror movies. But it depends, you know. The last horror movie that I saw that actually scared me, that I enjoyed, because I did enjoy being scared by it, was Paranormal Activity. But I never watched horror movies, you know. I didn't identify with the demon or whatever.
No.
In Paranormal Activity. No, I don't make a habit. I don't think of identifying with the killer necessarily. Maybe I need to watch more.
But that's a different type of horror movie, because that's a supernatural horror.
Yeah, it's like some impersonal force. It's not some
I'm talking about like serial killers, because you could also make the argument like in The Ring it was a female.
Right.
Okay, I mean, sure, but it's still a supernatural phenomenon.
It's not realistic. I guess.
And in literature, that's not different either. You see a lot of like, ooh, we're afraid of the woman in the forest.
Right.
Bullshit.
It's an impersonal force.
Yeah.
Like, a great example, as always, if you're talking about feminism and horror movies, you have to talk about Silence of the Lambs, clearly. And it's interesting, Silence of the Lambs is interesting because there are two male killers. And in some uncomfortable ways, I think, maybe I identified with, like, Buffalo Bill, like, some parts of my personality that I just, like, really don't talk about at parties.
Right.
Like, maybe. But, you know, the one you want to identify with is you want to identify with Anthony Hopkins, because he's, like, smart and erudite and in control, and he eats people. Which, you know, I mean, we like taboo shit, we like cannibals, we wouldn't watch movies like that if we didn't. So there's something attractive, there's something undeniably attractive about Anthony Hopkins. You know, that's part of the tension of the movie.
Absolutely, and if the redhead and the thigh highs of Girls Against Boys were this incredibly calculated, erudite serial killer that ate people and just, like, indiscriminately murdered, like in the book Base Moi, the French book about female rage, where they're just fucking killing everyone. Like,
I still need to read that.
They kill a kid. They kill a 5-year-old kid in a candy store because they want to make the point that they will do it. They fucking shoot this little boy in the head because, and the grandma who's there with him, because they want to be killers, and that's interesting.
And that's interesting.
And I like that dynamic. And if that was what Girls Against Boys were, like this as a movie, this gal was just fucking insane, and she wanted to kill people and possibly eat them and be more like Anthony Hopkins. It would be my favorite movie.
That would be your favorite movie, because she's cannibalizing people. This is interesting because it brings up something that you and I talk about a lot, which is like conflict and power, and the relationship between conflict and power and feminism. And, like, there's something inherent in human nature, I think, that wants to be powerful and in control, wants to kick ass and be destructive sometimes. And there's something attractive to us about Hannibal Lecter because he kills people and eats them. It's not that I don't think it's as simple as he's attractive despite the fact that he kills people. Like, he's erudite and, like, he's urbane, and so he's attractive despite the fact that he kills people and eats them. I think partially he's attractive because he kills people and eats them. I think people really wanted to see...
Well, maybe, because I think that the erudite... The fact that he's so smart makes it okay, because if he were, like, this savage caveman type character...
Like Buffalo Bill.
No, like Hills Have Eyes.
Okay, right.
We're
going further.
Yeah, right. Then him
Okay.
eating people wouldn't make him somehow attractive. I think that it might be this, well, it's because it's powerful.
Right, it's powerful. It's the same, I just saw, for the first time the other day, I just watched American Psycho. I'd never seen American Psycho before. And
Did you identify with the killer?
Yeah, I wanted to, because he's powerful.
Right.
I knew, good that I don't intend to start killing people, but yeah, conflict, murder. The human race has a history of we killing each other. We have a history of killing each other, and despite all we've done, in modern culture to sort of create safe spaces away from this aspect of human nature, the ability to kill another person is still an undeniable marker of power.
Sure.
I guess. But yeah, not if you don't fit into... It's strange, that's very interesting. Not if you don't fit into culture the way like Patrick Bateman or Hannibal Lecter fits into culture. If you're like Hills Have Eyes, I guess you're sort of considered powerful in a way, but not powerful in a way that anybody wants to be. Nobody really wants to be that character.
No, and you have the power to kill anyone, but I think that we are all smart enough to know that if you're not attractive and intelligent, you're not really powerful.
Yeah.
Or one or the other. Like, you have people like Stephen Hawking, who isn't attractive, but he's very intelligent. So he's powerful.
So he's powerful, and it's generally understood by everybody, probably, that if you are not attractive or intelligent and you're killing people, you're compensating. Basically, that's what you're doing. You could talk about that in terms of rape and how and why rape happens too. Probably, like, are you compensating? Like,
maybe. The problem with that is we have no data. For so long, we've had this narrative that rape is just about power and nothing else, and how dare you suggest that it could be anything else? And that's, of course, fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and you and I have talked about that a million times.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, that's interesting. Like, somebody, yeah, the Hills Have Eyes murderer. He's compensating for something, but we don't see Patrick Bateman that way. We just seems powerful. We don't see Hannibal Lecter that way. We just seem as powerful. And you, despite, you're not, I don't think you've killed anyone, and probably don't plan to kill anybody.
Children.
Your own children. Right. Forgot about that. You've killed your own children. But besides that, and it wasn't a power trip, I don't think.
No.
Well,
no, you don't feel very powerful with your legs in the stirrups.
No, I imagine not. But yeah, it's interesting that, like, we are civilized people and we campaign in many ways against violent, unproductive relationships, but we know that culture is imbued with power dynamics, and when you watch a film like that, if you were to watch a film where there was a genius female psychopath murderer, part of you would just be like, yeah, like... Yeah,
I would love that.
I would love it.
I am always looking for a horror film where I can kind of, like, cheer it on. Like, I got duped into watching the movie, I think it was called Zombie Girl, and there was only one zombie, just one zombie, and it was this naked girl, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. No! A group of men find her, chain her up in a basement, they just rape her the whole movie. It's awful.
They rape the zombie girl?
Yeah.
Rape girl?
Yeah, that's what the movie is. And then once they figure out they can't kill her, they, like, shoot her in the stomach while they're raping her. It's awful.
Good.
Anyway,
lovely.
So that didn't pan out how I wanted to.
No.
And then, like, Hard Candy.
Did you like... That's what I was going to ask you next. Did you like Hard Candy?
In a lot of ways, I did like Hard Candy because she's scary. Like, this girl is scary. Yeah. You're not going to reason with... You're not changing her mind. Like, she is just going to cause you violence, and that is cool because it's powerful, and I love that it's this young girl because we so often
Yeah, I mean,
we so often, I guess it's emasculate young girl. Like we dismiss.
we don't
them.
assume that
we
they're
don't
potent,
assume they have any power at
potent
all.
or powerful in any way. Yeah.
So I like that as well. Just because of the rage of being a teenage girl, where everybody just assumes that you're like a baby deer.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you have worth. You have worth as a wet hole.
Right. That's all the worth you have, and that's one of the reasons that we were just talking about teen girl culture a minute ago, actually, when the camera wasn't on, and we were talking about how teenage girls have the freedom to like act out in these ways, and they they're dismissed in a way. Because they're dismissed, they can just sort of like go nuts, and they go nuts, and they're dismissed more. There's this like reactor core of acting outness that produces a lot of really interesting culture. There's this like space of teenage girlhood. We were just talking about that, but yeah.
Again, if they turn to murder,
man, so cool.
But not. I mean, I don't want anyone murdered.
This is the magic of culture. Though.
I know, but if the glitterati of Tumblr, these like 15-year-old girls with a Skrillex haircut, just start killing everyone.
Be great in a way, right? That's the thing. That's the magic. That's the magic of culture and entertainment culture and art is that there are these things that we create or act out that really seem like they're placeholders for something else. We really don't want to kill people. We don't really want to watch other people kill people. Like that's it's interesting. And we these girls, teenage girls, participate in all kinds of fantasies and sing about all kinds of things and wear all kinds of things, and it's this almost like shamanism of like invoking this powerful, like I'm not female. I don't have a motorcycle. I'm not a computer hacker, but like watching Lisbeth Salander kick ass like makes me feel powerful.
Well, I get that too, but I really wish that somebody would write a narrative about a woman who is just powerful and isn't just raped all the time.
Yes.
I'd really love for those two things to come together.
And isn't necessarily just like this positive sort of. There's always like a softer side revealed to the woman, like in Devil Wears Prada. It's like she's a badass, you know what I mean? But really, she's like sacrificing her femininity on the altar of success, and that's like the backstory. And Hathaway makes her like vulnerable in this way. And near the end of the movie, you see that movie, right? Assuming, of course you have. There's always that kind of narrative. There's never just like crazy fucking powerful ass female killing everyone. That's not like a thing.
Well, that was one thing that would. Well, in Girls Against Boys, the blonde woman, she's talking to herself. Was the big reveal. But when she's talking to the redhead, who's the real brains behind "Let's kill all these men," the redhead says to her, she says, "Nothing happened in my childhood. My childhood was great. I kill people because I can." And that is the character that I want to see. But they took it all away. And they were like, ooh, Fight Club, we're so edgy. And you're not.
The Fight Club thing, that's what I was going to ask you about. Do you mean like the characters, this is a spoiler alert, obviously, but the characters are like the same person?
It's the same person. That the redhead doesn't exist.
That's not interesting.
Which is not interesting, and I hate that. And I just get so frustrated because we do have narratives where women are going around killing people, but it's always a rape revenge.
It's always something.
You gotta rape them first, because we have to assert that men are more powerful than you.
Yes.
But we'll let you kill them after they're done raping you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
I wonder if these narratives are going to become more or less prevalent. They're certainly going to become more charged as women gain more ascendancy in the culture and in the boardroom and stuff like that. I think men are objecting more and more like shrilly to this idea of, women at the top and women in control. And I'm wondering if that will make these kinds of female power fantasies like more enticing, maybe simultaneously more enticing to women and like more, there were a lot of men freaking out on the internet over.
Oh yeah, big man tears.
They
were so mad because, well, first of all, they falsely identify this as feminism. I will never understand. I guess the point is that they're not actually familiar with feminist literature, because I cannot imagine some man reading like Erica Jung's Fear of Flying and going, "This Girls Against Boys, they're cutting off men's legs. This is feminism." What?
No.
They do. So
there is feminist theory that they could read to justify cutting off men's legs, but they haven't read it, probably.
I don't think anybody advocates for just
killing men.
No, it's Valerie Solanas. But she doesn't. The thing about Valerie Solanas is she doesn't say like, let's cut their limbs off and torture them. She's like, we just need to exterminate them. She doesn't go into
She wants
the
them
particulars.
gone.
She
She's
just wants
not that
them gone.
interested in the process.
Right. So, yeah, that one book exists. Checkmate, feminists.
Right, exactly. And she's crazy, and she tried to kill Andy Warhol.
Right.
So,
I think. What was I saying before we got to this? What are we talking about? Now I'm thinking about a couple things. Weird. Oh, okay. Yeah, they were crying about this movie because they're like, I don't like all this feminist nonsense. And the second, they're like, this is heavy-handed. They're just trying to prove a point that girls are strong. And we all know girls aren't actually strong. Why are you making movies about girls who have power? That's not real. This is stupid. I didn't fall for your big ruse. This is just feminist brainwashing.
everybody loved Django Unchained. You know what I'm saying? Like we can have this like interesting fantasy space where we play with power and identity and all these various sort of thick sociocultural phenomena in Django Unchained, but not in...
Yeah, but in our culture, I think we have a narrative for black men that is one of violence and power.
That's true.
So,
that's a good point. Yes, that's true.
It's not quite wholesome.
I mean, it was still a pretty interesting thing that they did, that Tarantino did with black male identity and Django Unchained. But yeah, there isn't this like complete absence of power narratives in the culture for that kind of...
No.
Yeah, it's different. It's interesting.
So that's unfortunate. I would like it if they made that movie. I'd watch it.
All right.
I would buy it. I would not download it.
You would buy it and pay money to see.
Yeah, I did pirate
Uber.
Girls Against Boys, so they didn't get any of my money.
Well, that's... Yeah.
Or anyone else's, if you read the Wikipedia page. So I made like $7,000 maybe.
Yeah. So hopefully someone will eventually make that movie. The female, I want to see the female. I would watch that movie because I think it would turn me on. The female Patrick Bateman. That would be hot.
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic. Now, you can't say that out loud. You're not allowed to say, I want to see the female Patrick Bateman because, that would be hot and I want to fuck her. Because that's objectification. Now we're mad because if you're sexually attracted to a woman, you are degrading her.
Yes, clearly.
Clearly.